Hello, Scribblers. I thought I'd share an unpopular opinion. I really hate using gouache. I know it's a favorite medium among many artists, but for some reason, it just doesn't click with me. I'll be discussing my experiences and the difficulties I face while trying to master this medium, so if you're interested, let's dive in. When I first started, I went right into using the gouache without really understanding the medium. I was drawn to the vibrant, rich colors and the promise of both opaque and watercolor-like effects. However, I quickly realized that it was not as straightforward as I imagined. I noticed many artists on YouTube raving about how gouache is a fantastic medium for sketchbooks. They praised its versatility and how it could be brought to their sketches and to just bring all these vibrant colors. But my experience was quite different. I struggled to achieve the same effects in my own sketchbook, and it often left me feeling frustrated. My first mistake was using a wet medium on cheap sketch paper. The texture was too thin and smooth for the paint to stick. That, coupled with the water making the paper warp, was not helping either. So the ones that I used were the Reeves gouache that you can actually find at any Michaels store. It's basically the standard for whatever they sell. I guess like that would be the store brand, which there's nothing wrong with store brands, but these ones I guess were not the best. They were also maybe a couple years old. So while I worked with them in the past and it worked well for what I needed, this was a bit different. The colors provided in the paint set were actually very minimal. Granted, you had your blacks and whites and of course the primary colors to mix whatever you wanted, but outside of that they had just basically a lot of browns and yellows, which I wasn't sure why that was an option in this package. So remembering what I knew, or at least remembering what I thought I knew about gouache, you had to mix your colors so that way you got this butter-like texture people would always talk about, and after doing that a couple times in a palette, it still wasn't right. I either would have it too wet or too opaque. The colors were not as vibrant and not really matching the correct tone that I needed. This could have been my mistake at not mixing them right, but honestly, I kept going back and forth on this and I still wasn't getting the right tones that I needed. Another problem I ran into was the paint would dry out so fast that reactivating it with some water would make it too transparent and then also kind of move it around too much. A lot of loss of control here. The first painting, I picked a character I was familiar with, I grabbed some outfit references from Pinterest, and using limited color choices, I tried to kinda cheat a little by just going more monochromatic. In other gouache videos, I've noticed that the artist will actually just lay down blocks of color and then blend it all in afterwards. So as a good little follower that I am, I blocked out all the lights and darks and then blended them using the water to create a soft transition. And that really didn't work out for me. Colors started to become muddy, not exactly what I wanted. I didn't give a chance to let it dry, so once more it kind of like blurred into all the hair and all colors were moving side to side and it just was a mess. The face tones didn't turn out right. They just kind of also made a mess. Maybe I wasn't working big enough. I don't know. I was dying by the end of this first piece that I created. But for me, being the person that doesn't actually give up, I've decided I could fix this. I could save it. You know, who wouldn't want to save this piece because you want it to look good? We want to prove that we're actually flawless artists on here, right? So I went back to my comfort zone. I grabbed colored pencils and just used those to really define my shadows and my harsh outlines. And even after all of that cute little detail that we tried to do to salvage this, I gave up. It wasn't working out for me. I was a little too frustrated, and I needed a break. A break that probably took a whole week. I decided to come back a little more prepared and start all over and learn from this experience that we had. 'Cause you know, improvement, blah blah blah, we just learn. This time I added a small amount of water to the wells of paint, keeping them from drying out. I limited my color choices even further by just putting down primary colors in the black and white and mixing whatever I needed. I switched out the paper to, instead of using sketches, to a mixed media type of paper. This way I had a little more tooth and the paper was actually thicker than what I had in the cheap sketchbook that I am happy to use, but not for this. So this did make a large improvement, but my impatient ass was not made for this medium. The colors still didn't mix the way I intended. I would add either too much water or not enough. My values would even start to become overblended, even with that little stick that has the water inside it and that we used for our watercolors, and nope, didn't work here. So sticking back to our colors after the tiny rant, and as you can see, I'm losing my mind. Even though I improved on the tools that I had, it didn't really work for any sort of tiny details that I had in here. Honestly, all these expressions that I treasure so much just gone. All lack of control, well, just gone out the window. No control is here. With the frustration at hand again, I took another break, and like the good artists we are, we're gonna go back to the comfort zone after that break, and I went back to the colored pencils even on the second time. So we used these to add more personality to the face, because honestly, I couldn't use these. I just really couldn't. Gouache is not my thing. I am so sorry. It just doesn't work out that way sometimes. So in the end, do I recommend the cheap gouache set that you can get at any Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or store like that? Haha, no! No, I do not. Am I just not the best at using this medium? That is to be determined. But maybe next time, when I don't want to yeet these drawings out the window, we can try gouache again. That's it for today's video, Scribblers. As you can see, despite my best efforts, I still have a long way to go with gouache. If you have similar struggles or have any tips, I'd actually love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful somehow, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more art adventures. So, until next time, keep on scribbling.